Thank you for the chance to talk about the Memex project. I'm Alessio Del Bue, the coordinator of the project from the Italian Institute of Technology in Italy. And with me there is Corinne.
Yeah. So I'm Corinne. I'm the coordinator of the Michael Culture Association, and I'm one of the partner of the Memex project.
So we are 13, okay, here we are 13 partners in the project. You see in these slides the distribution of them that comes from different countries. I will first leave the word to Corinne so she can give an introduction, and then I will go more deeper in the technology we are using in this project that is developing AI systems for social inclusion.
Yeah, so thank you. So the Memex project promotes social cohesion through collaborative heritage ICT related tools that provide inclusive access to tangible and intangible cultural heritage. And at the same time, the objective is to facilitate encounters, discussions, interactions between the communities at risk of social exclusions and visibility, and increase their visibility and their inclusion. And so in order to do this, we will create best practice, policies, and ICT tool. And in order to do that, you can see that the project is a transsectorial approach. It's a cooperation between cultural actors, tech partners, and it's a really a specific approach and methodology in order to achieve social goal and technological goal. So, the targeted final beneficiaries and users will be both individual citizens and intermediate organizations in relation with audiences such as museums, associations, social centers, but also local authorities. So one of the added value of the Memex project is that the app that we are working on will be designed in close relation with the targeted people in order to ensure that this app will take into account the digital divides and the needs of the targeted audience. Because as you see in this project, it's really about how artificial intelligence and new technologies can support inclusiveness. So this is really the focus. And so this is the condition, in fact, for an inclusive app working closely with the inhabitants, with the targeted people, and bringing together the technological and cultural communities. So if we go in this slide, yeah, so you can see that our approach is based on 3 pilots. So there is the Barcelona, there is the 3 pilots are implementing and sharing an approach and processes. For sure with some local adaptation because the situation is not the same in the 3 countries. And each pilot is implementing in close cooperation with local social-cultural partners and involve a group of inhabitants and users. So the idea is that in the Lisbon pilot, coordinated by Mapas des Ideas, we will focus on the community of first, second, and third generation of migrants from countries that have a rich shared heritage with Portugal. And the pilot using and the application, the Memex app, will promote the production of mediated intercultural story about heritage, promoting social cohesion between migrants and natives. The pilot Paris is implementing in a priority territory. So the pilot will focus on population in a situation of risk of exclusion due to poverty. And then, thanks to the Memex app, we will develop narratives based on digital heritage archives, including European ones. Inhabitants will share memories and the storytelling approach in order to improve the area identity. In the pilot Barcelona, we will focus on migrant women And the aim of the pilot is to increase the visibility of the group of participants and empowering them. So the approach, if we go to the next slide, Alessio. Yeah. So the Memex app, and that is the very, very important point, builds on territorial diagnosis of each area, building a territorial corpus. I mean, collect, aggregate historical archive footage from the cultural institution, inhabitants, testimonies, artistic and collaborative content, stories of people in each pilot area. Storytelling the corpus, aggregation of the data collected in the territorial corpus in order to design the local routes reflecting the experience of the community, and using the app with the inhabitants. So the app is in fact co-created, co-designed with the inhabitants. The idea is that the pilot's participant will be helped to include cultural data and create stories in the application, test the usability of a beta version, let's say, evaluate their understanding of the app, and then answer to the specific needs of the inhabitants. Then, based on the analysis of the testing sessions, the Memex app will be developed, updated, and promoted toward the citizens, the cultural and social organizations, and local authorities. So as you can see, it's really an application built on the needs and use of the targeted people. So
Okay.
Alessio, you can
Thank
go
you
on the
very much,
technical
Corinne,
approach.
for the first part. I'm going to bit a deep dive more on the technical capabilities of the app we are going to build in Memex. This is already 1 year of the project, so we're going to release soon a beta of this software. Pretty much. So the app will allow to, it will look like a sort of looking glass in the real world, where we are going to geolocalize digital information related to cultural heritage based on the places where people live on. And we would like also to visualize on the real world the stories of people, migrants, for instance, or any, let's say, community at risk of social exclusion in the real world, using just simply our phone and pointing it at the real world and see the stories developing there. For doing that, we need really a lot of, let's say, of ingredients, and we categorize them in three parts. One is, of course, to create a knowledge graph that kind of exists already of, let's say, artistic items or even common standard objects in the world. But we would like to create this knowledge graph that is anchored to the real location, physical location. So we needed to construct this database that not only provide where the objects of interest or the stories of interest, but also their location and their proximity in the world. And for doing that, we need a localization engine that uses computer vision and machine learning in order to understand where, for instance, the person is. So where he's pointing his phone, actually, into the world. And then a way to visualize in the best way as possible these stories that this very same people involved in the pilots will create and they will display on the phone. So for doing that, Memex app uses many data, which is of course the digital glance content. So we are gonna use the information in the selected sites for the pilots, but of course we are open to other type of collaboration, since we are attracting already some interest on the system itself. We are gonna use street level images that are available, kind of, let's say, Google Street View, but I will tell you later more details about it. And also the information that we will accumulate by the people using the app itself, roaming around the cities, and the information they will put while creating the stories, which give another point of view even to our common heritage. So we have really, I wanted just to briefly go through a big problem we have is a kind of a map retrieval problem, because we have a different set of data and they live in independent worlds. So Memex is trying to link them together. And for instance, we have several types of data in the visual world we use. For instance, some of them can be standard point of interest, like a mailbox, street signs, trash bin, anything that cannot move too much in the city, and also cultural heritage aspects. The idea of our app that we needed to localize where they are and localize the user using these references. So we use three types of data. One is Wikidata, for which we can extract common information, common knowledge about many things, mainly textual. It can be artifacts, cultural heritage items, or anything related to the place we are living or city we are living. Then we have OpenStreetMap, which is a website that has uh, openly available maps that can be used and downloaded by everyone, and they contain also point of interest, even where are benches or trash bins or traffic lights inside the city, with a quite good localization, not perfect. And then we have another database, which is Mapillary, that has geolocalized information and images. And then later we have the database, local archives. So for Wikidata, I already told you, is a place where for which we can grab a lot of information, and we have parser to fed them and try to already localize them. OpenStreetMap really is really a new world for which where we can extract information and try to localize on these 2D maps. And then Mapillary instead is providing like street view images that are able to be downloaded freely. And in the end, of course, another source of richness is Europeana, for which we are trying to geolocalize inside the real world. So that's the four layer of information we are using and trying to make them connect. This is an example very quick about an geolocalization problem we have in Lisbon, where we have normal objects like benches, but also cultural heritage. And we are trying to use both information in order to match the maps to the visual world and the digital information associated to it. In order, for instance, to have like a 3D localization of the world, so we can really have display information on the phone and also understand where the person are. So I would like to conclude here for some references about the website, Twitter and Instagram accounts, and some contact emails for asking more information. Thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you, Alessio. While you were presenting, I tried to answer to the questions in the chat, but please contact us if you're interested to know more about the project and the application.